In a Highland glen lived a lad brave but thin, a gatherer of herbs and lore. To live in peace he swore, to mind his own and never quarrel. And all the shire called him Squirrel, never a lad of logs and stone. He preferred the frogs and loam, while his mates the caber tossed. In the hills you'd find Squirrel lost. Vials and runes in his tattered pack, dew-wet leaves in a burlap sack. Every tree had a whispering tongue, and the ravens shared the spells they sung. He was born to a starving clan, under yoke of the English band, conscripted to serve when the evil trumpets blew. Though a blade in anger his hand never drew, a duke on hilltop throne claimed the land and serfs his own. Drafted the lads his bidding do, marked them for death, then ate his stew. Squirrel obeyed and did as told, his eyes cast low, hands stained with peat and bit with snow. Forced to march in a red coat line, his heart whispered, not my time. Don Squirrel, warlock of the dawn, Bruce's mage with sorcerer's brawn. When the line is breaking and all hope seems gone, call for Don Squirrel at the graying of the dawn. Then one night before a march began, he looked about on his haggard clan, saw the Lord with his wicked smile. In his stomach rose the bitter bile. He saw clear his kinsmen's fate, he no could longer hold his hate. Rebellion flashed in his heart like flame, he burned his oath and proclaimed his name. Tore the badge from his linen sleeve, vowed the tyrants would have to leave. Now an enemy of the crown, made he haste to leave the town, to the hills where the lost ones roam, to the ancient moors he called home, to the camps cloaked with mist, where hid the men of Robert the Bruce with rugged fists. They were few, but their eyes were steel, sworn to break the oppressor's wheel. Squirrel knelt in the mud-stained straw, pledged his soul to the usurper's law. Don Squirrel, warlock of the dawn, Bruce's mage with sorcerer's brawn. When the line is breaking and all hope seems gone, call for Don Squirrel at the graying of the dawn. There came a night when the frost bit deep, when the camp tossed in restless sleep, and just before the first pale light, red coats crept in like wolves at night. Squirrel had climbed to the heathered height to gather herbs by the ghost grey light. But then he heard a trumpet charge in the vale, saw he a company large. Terror broke like a thundering sky, but all his fears turned to battle cry. He looked down upon his sleeping men and knew this would be their end. But then from every stem and stone power flowed, and he knew they weren't alone. On the ridge where the hawks did wheel, he felt root and branch inside him steal, flesh and bone into something more, ancient and wild from Scotland's core. The men below raised their eyes in dread. When the air around Squirrel fled, each eye saw a swirling shadow form, a cloak of bristling fur it did adorn. No longer a boy in a tattered coat, but now a warrior Squirrel in tartan cloak, twice the height of any mortal man, with a by half gale, doth na coil, we shall prevail. Down it crashed into the pending fight. Iron shattered and shields took flight. The enemy broke like wave on rocky shoal, as the claymores swallowed every soul. When dawn broke, the sky was bare. Apart the Bruce rode up through crackling air, found his men with their tartans torn, but still alive in the ruined morn. Every tongue told the same wild tale of a squirrel dressed in battle mail, and the king in his gracious brawn dubbed him Don Squirrel, Warlock of the Dawn. By my sword and the oaths I've sworn, you're Don Squirrel in magic born, Mage of Alba, my secret shield, Lord of grey morn on blood-soaked field. From that day through the war's long turn, where the Gaelic banners did burn, wherever the lines began to fold, Squirrel's eyes turned glacier cold. His visage would swirl in fur and kilt, and become a wizard squirrel battle built, and every charge that should not hold became tales the old wives told. The years rolled on like a Highland song, kings grew weak and the crowns went wrong, but to this day the warlock of that dawn-streaked hill roams the earth when the winds are still. Now he dwells in modern glare, a quiet man in a rocking chair, but the glens still know his name, and the dawn is still witness to his fame. Don Squirrel, Warlock of the Dawn, Bruce's mage with sorcerer's brawn. When the line is breaking and all hope seems gone, call for Don Squirrel at the graying of the dawn.